very good evening and thank you for being a part of our network tonight. My name is Siphumelele Zondi. Now, happy Women's Month to all women. As it is Women's Month in South Africa, we'll start with our series on women in technology. We also have information on how electronic bank fraud is increasing in Nigeria. Our team went to the South Africa launch of Windows 10. Tonight in studio, we'll chat about precautions we need to take when traveling with our digital devices abroad. This comes as different countries have different internet laws. We are live, so find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Let's start with our technology and social media news. It's Women's Month in South Africa and we are looking at the wonderful work that women are doing in the tech industry. Today we meet a young lady from a car-sharing company, Locommute.
Locommute is a car-sharing company that uses app-based technology to operate. Designed abroad, this technology is installed by a young lady called Cindy Kubeka. Initially, Cindy wanted to study something else, but fate led her to become an automotive technician, and she loves it.
Before all of this started, I was studying drafting in Boksburg at a college, and from there, that's where I met a friend who was applying for this sort of field in automotive. I was accompanying her actually for her interview when I got it somehow. The lady that was interviewing her knew me. She was a lecturer at our school. She knew me and she said, no, we're taking her. She doesn't have to do any interview. So yeah, everything happened so quickly and I found myself in this field.
After studying automotive repair maintenance in Rustenburg, Cindy started her internship at Ford manufacturing plant in Pretoria as a mechanic. But as she was working in a plant, she couldn't do mechanics. As luck would have it, she got an opportunity to do electrical, which she thrived in.
That's one thing I enjoy about it. I don't have to work hard, I just have to work smart, and yeah, it's easy stuff. It's wiring, guys, so for me it comes natural now. It comes natural. As for Locommute, I enjoy the working environment.
Cindy has been doing electrical for the past 6 years and believes that any young woman who is willing should get into technology field.
I feel there's a lot of opportunities for women in this field because it's a man's world. But if you're a woman and you know what you're doing and you love it, you know, and you can outshine the guys, then believe me, you're gonna go far.
Currently, Cindy appreciates the nitty-gritties of her job. She gets to assist stuck passengers and do maintenance to the fleet.
I'm a technician here at Locommute. I install the system and I maintain it in terms of having issues, because clients have issues wherever they are. You find that their car is not working, battery low, and so forth. So I assist them.
Now, the Department of Basic Education says it's tightening security to protect new digital equipment it's installed. This is after the equipment was stolen in a school in Rockville in Soweto.
The Department of Basic Education says it's beefing up security to protect the digital technology it's installing in schools. Despite their best efforts to improve learning, the department has fallen victim to theft. Pafogang School in Rockville was hit by thieves earlier this week. The equipment and LED screens were part of the department's paperless classroom project. Like this school in Mamelodi, west of Pretoria, they were given tablets installed with tracking devices. Twanemeya Khosi Enturamokhopa says this is a digital library.
The library at the palm of their hands. So I guess from here on, it's about their appetite to new knowledge, to discover, exploit the knowledge that is there. And this can only serve to ensure that we're able to improve the quality of learning and teaching, and then hopefully the product will be better results.
This is not the first incident. Earlier, some tablets were retracted.
Nigeria has a bad reputation with online scams. The one that is most common is known as the 419 scam. These would be emails that promise incredible wealth only if the recipient deposits a certain amount of money into the bank account. But now electronic fraud is also on the rise in Nigeria. As more and more Nigerians make purchases online, electronic fraud is also increasing. Some of these scams happen at ATMs. Nigeria's interbank settlement systems estimate that the country lost about 159 billion naira, which would be about 10 billion rand last year. This is all due to electronic fraud. This is unsettling to ordinary Nigerians.
I was with my ATM card at home and I got a alert that I made some cash withdrawals. So but I didn't do that. So the next day I rushed to the bank and lodged a complaint. And I was made to know that somebody made use of the data on my ATM card or something to do online purchase.
Banks are trying to find ways to curb this new form of fraud in the country. They're also now issuing new ATM cards that use chip and PIN technology. These are already in use in other parts of the world as they are considered safer as customers' details are encrypted and more difficult to obtain illegally.
We look at their profile and issue the right type of card. For example, in Nigeria, we have cards that even if you're able to harvest customers' information, it might be difficult for you, to use those details, to do anything. Okay. We also make sure that for those very vulnerable channels like the web, we demand for second level authentication. So even if I'm able to get my card details, either through phishing or through skimming, you won't be able to use my details except you have the second level authentication factor.
The government has also increased cooperation between security agencies in and outside Nigeria.
Fraudsters, especially on the electronic platform, it could be said to be a global network. They operate everywhere and they have a very strong syndicate. So for you to combat the menace of these fraudsters, you also have to operate internationally. And that is why our central bank will cooperate with other organizations through the law enforcement agencies.
The country's banks plan more public awareness campaigns to educate people about the dangers of cybercrime and electronic fraud. Now we'll take a look at what's been happening in the rest of the tech space.
Hi and welcome to another edition of the SABC News Tech Wrap. I am Lebukhan Sejake.
And I'm Matiba Sibanyoni. Now staying in South Africa, chat service WeChat has recently teamed up with research company Pondering Panda to take advantage of Africa's growing smartphone market.
Pondering Panda, who conduct their research primarily online, is now using WeChat to run a range of research projects, gathering and analyzing user opinions for various clients. The research group in the past has received criticism for limiting their research to smartphone users. Pondering Panda, however, says their online research allows for more in-depth feedback, broader reach and better targeting, and an improved demographic penetration.
Now, in the local front, more and more Silicon Valley tech companies are setting up shop here in Africa. Accommodation renting application Airbnb has announced its expansion plan in the continent.
Airbnb is an online tourism service that operates like Uber, only this one is for booking or renting out a room in a private home for travelers. When asked whether or not the service has received backlash, the company's CEO Brian Chesky said that they had received some criticism from the New York City tourism industry in regards to regulation issues. The Silicon Valley-based company's creators officially launched the travel service in South Africa on July 27th. They also announced their plans to fast-track the service's growth in the continent.
It seems like the Uber saga is far from over. This time, the taxi-hailing application has been receiving serious backlash from meter taxi drivers in Mexico City.
We are here in front of this embassy to show our support and protest the global discontent from legal taxi unions who are against these transitional apps which perpetuate a crime each time they transport a passenger.
Mexico City became the first Latin American country to regulate Uber earlier this year. These regulations include a 1.5% ride levy, a yearly permit fee, and a minimum vehicle value. This, however, has angered taxi drivers who say the local government has given in to the demands of the San Francisco-based company. The controversial taxi service has been banned in countries like France, Portugal and Spain, and is also facing some problems here in South Africa.
Most youngsters might not get the pleasure or troubles of using a typewriter. New Yorkers have been able to express themselves using a typewriter in the middle of the city. The Poetry Society in New York set up an art installation which features a booth with a typewriter where the public can sit and type their own poetry or thoughts.
I really never know what to say, so I decided to kind of go with something that's already been written, which I think is sometimes great because sometimes you don't need to say something original to have it mean something.
That was pretty cool. I think I'd totally take that opportunity and type something on that typewriter. Just for the fun of it, right?
Me too.
That's
and you get to express yourself better when you're pressing hard on keys.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. Well, that's it from us this week. Join us again next week for another wrap of the most interesting tech stories doing the rounds.
I am Lebogansi Jake.
And I'm Matiba Sibanyoni.
And from us, it's bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, girls. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. After the break, we'll talk about precautions you need to take with your digital technologies when traveling abroad. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for being a part of our network once again. Now, recently a group of South Africans was arrested and released in China. Sources say they had been watching a Genghis Khan video. He was a 13th century Mongolian warrior who founded an empire from Eastern Europe to the South China Sea. It's believed those that arrested them thought the group was involved in terrorist activities when it watched the video.
The internet is difficult to control as one can access information that's posted anywhere in the world. Some countries try to control it and have created laws to that effect. Just a few weeks ago, 10 South Africans were arrested in China at the Erdos airport. They were suspected of watching propaganda videos in their hotel room. They were also suspected of being part of a terror group. Later, the suspects were released. Hussein and Tahira Jacobs arrived back in the country after being part of that tour group. They say it was an unfortunate misunderstanding. The group, which also included Britons and Indians, was on a 47-day historical tour of China. A statement released on behalf of the Jacobs says they were watching a documentary on Genghis Khan to further their understanding of the region they were visiting. They say this may have been deemed propaganda material. Genghis Khan was a 13th century warrior in Central Asia who founded the Mongol Empire, one of the largest empires in history.
Digital devices have become important tools when we're traveling. We use them to take photographs on the places we visit. We then update our friends about our whereabouts. They have many other uses like browsing the net and researching about the places we plan to visit. But we could be breaking the law when using these devices in foreign countries. Joining us for a chat about this is Kim Parker from Wings Travel Management. Hello and thank you for being a part of our network, Kim.
Thank you very much.
Now, something as simple as using your phone to take a photo can get you into trouble.
It absolutely can. In today's technology, we have access to absolutely everything, and it's critical to understand what country law is with regards to that. Photographs for us is a natural thing to do, but in places like Dubai, you need to know where you can take that photo. Certain palaces, military establishments, government buildings, you are banned from taking photos. Some countries' laws are just please ask for consent before taking the photo, and some countries like Sudan have a complete ban. In fact, if you don't have a permit in Sudan, you cannot take a photo. So travellers really need to be aware what the laws are in the country they're travelling to.
And it's not just photographs. Browsing the internet, as we just saw, they were looking at a video of Genghis Khan and they got arrested in China.
Absolutely. So my advice is that if you're going to be travelling into any country, use a good global travel management company who can help you to research the country. You know, in days gone past, we were able to provide content on what you should wear to attend business meetings, what the business etiquette is, what the culture of the country is with regards to dress. Nowadays, we have to step that up, and we have to be providing research to travellers to say when you're using your devices, where you can use them, how you can use them. In countries like China, North Korea, Facebook, Twitter, Skype are all banned. So it's very important to research the country you're going to be travelling in before you make use of that device.
And do a lot of people do that? Do they research internet laws of the countries they're visiting?
I don't think they do. I think in the past, as I said, we've given advice on basic travel. But I don't think until the China situation arose, we realised how important it is to look at the laws, specifically around digital devices and the content. So going forward, it would always be a good idea to research, to make sure you know exactly what you're getting yourself in for. And should you find yourself in a situation where you are in trouble, to have a travel management company you can call at any time to assist. So it's also important that your travel company, being global and having people on the ground to assist you, can provide you with that assistance and that research before you travel.
And over there it was the Genghis Khan video, but what sort of material can, in other parts of the world, can be deemed inappropriate to view on the net?
As mentioned, there are various laws for various countries. In the Far East specifically, illicit content, adult content is completely banned and carries very, very strict penalties. In countries such as Dubai and North Korea, as I say, you may be able to get onto a Facebook site, but posting anything on Facebook would carry a serious fine. Often you find yourself using the hotel Wi-Fi, and that allows you onto certain sites. Even though those sites are banned, you'd still allow access onto that, and you need to be careful for that. So, you know, there are so many laws regarding digital devices and content that you really need to investigate before you travel what those laws are.
And travel management companies, do people make use of them in that regard?
I don't think they have in the past, but a good global travel management company will always provide that advice for you. So at Wings Travel Management, doing research papers and making sure that our travellers are safe and secure is paramount important to us. So we would provide that information. I don't think people have it on top of mind. I'm taking my phone out and I want to research something. I don't think they realise what impact it could have. People use TripAdvisor, Check My Trip for travel-related searches. In some countries that might not be allowed, so it's always good to be prepared.
And in terms of the countries that, how much trouble, for example, can one get into? We know that the guys in China, they got arrested. Yeah. Is that the worst that can happen to a person?
I think it is dependent on the country. We know, for example, in Dubai, if you're taking photos in a restricted area, it is a fine. But in Singapore, if you're watching illicit content and it's their interpretation of illicit content, you can be arrested. And there would be heavy fines attached to that as well.
Their interpretation?
Yes, absolutely. Every country has their own rules and regulations. So, you know, we need to be aware of what they are so that we know what we're getting ourselves into when we travel.
And as Wings Travel Management, how would you then help the person that comes to you and says, well, for example, I'm going to Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
And if someone is going to Saudi Arabia, how would you advise them?
Well, we do our research on all our countries so that we know exactly what the rules and regulations are. We also a global travel management company, so we have people in the regions who actually live in those countries to give us hands-on advice. So it's not just about going onto Google and researching it, it's about having people living in those countries to give us advice on what we can and cannot do. And as Wings Travel Management, that is what we would do for our travellers.
In the countries when you're not even allowed to take photos of buildings?
That's correct, they are. In Sudan, for example, you cannot take a photo without a permit, so no photography is allowed in Sudan at all. So that's quite strict.
And the types of buildings, for example, would it be government buildings? Would it be
predominantly your government and military buildings, also palaces. Also, a lot of European countries, you would need to have consent from the people you're taking photos of. Some people have got into quite a bit of trouble by just taking photos of people in an environment. You need to ask consent before you can take photos of general people in some European countries, also in Brazil.
Geez, Kim Parker from Wings Travel Management. I'm sure you've scared a lot of people from taking out their digital devices and taking photos as they please in foreign countries.
Just think twice and do your research.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight, Kim.
Thank you.
Right. And this week we caught up with jazz guitarist and music producer Kunle Ayo. He told us about his favorite music software.
My name is Kunle Ayo. I'm a jazz guitarist, I'm a producer, I'm an engineer, and my favorite software is the Cubase 7.5. And the reason why I like it is because it allows me the ability the flexibility of tweaking sound. I love the creation of sound. I love to see a process whereon I take a sound and I'm able to turn it into something else, turn it into something really beautiful. Some softwares have plugins that are already there. You just, hit a button and it's beautiful. I love the process of going through, each and every, angle of the editing, and then you come out with this beautiful sound.
Remember that we are on SABC Network and all social media. Now, Microsoft went big this year with the global launch of its latest operating system, Windows 10. Producer Lewis Ijake went to the South African launch and got to have first-hand experience of the updated Windows operating system.
Microsoft put on quite a show with the launch of their newest operating system, the Windows 10. The global launch party was a good treat for the fans of the tech company.
I am Wesen, we are in Beijing, and we love Windows 10.
Kenyans were most excited to have Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella announce the release of the operating system in their country.
And to all of you who showed up here today, it's the beginning of a new journey for us. Thank you for your support, and thank you so much.
Here at home, fans and customers of Microsoft got to have first-hand experience of the updated version of the Windows operating system at the Mary Fitzgerald Square in Newtown, Johannesburg.
We did a bunch of stuff as Microsoft, but we also learned a ton about what people wanted. They gave us feedback on what they didn't like, where the things were and where they weren't. So some really simple things, like you'll see there's a start button now. One thing that we heard a lot of feedback from. When we released some of the early builds, we had a start button, but we had the power menu right up in the top corner there. People said, actually what we really want is we want the power on-off button down in the bottom left-hand corner, because people's eyes naturally go down there when they're starting up the machine. So those are kind of the simple things that we did that really made the operating system a lot more, I guess, usable at the end of the day.
Windows 10 is the company's first new operating system in almost 3 years, following the 8th version of the operating system, which was launched in 2012. Windows 10 is available as a free upgrade for users of Windows 7 and Windows 8.1.
Whatever happened to Windows 9? Here's what some people have been sharing in social media. Many have been tweeting about Orlando Pirates' victory over Kaizer Chiefs, South Africa's two biggest teams who were playing in the Carling Black Label Cup. Some have been sharing their thoughts on the rumors that politician Tokyo Sehwale could be vying for FIFA president. There are those who have taken to social media to write about the conflict in Burundi. Fresh gunfire was heard on Saturday and Sunday in the capital, Bujumbura. This has killed former intelligence chief General Adolphe Nshimirimana. And that's all we have for you. Remember to find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We leave you with visuals from an exhibition in Harare called Eve's Diary. It's by Zimbabwean artist Mavis Tauzeni. From me and the rest of the network team, have a good one.